Welcome back, baseball fans. 1973, 76, off-season look, 1975 card set box. This is the last look and the fourth look of these cards. And it will be the National League Mountain Time Zone and the National League West. This is, of course, teams that would have second-year eligible rookies who weren't taken in their first year of eligibility in last year's draft, available in addition to their keepers. So we'll begin this process by looking at the Mountain Division and looking at Arizona. We'll start with them. Their keepers are Ed Herman, Daryl Knowles, Steve Stone, and Jim Willoughby. Ed Herman, I believe he's got an all-star turn in one of these years. That's not a glamorous all-star appearance, but he made the roster. Could be this year or could be 74. One of the years he made the all-star team as the White Sox representative. Left-handed hitting catcher with power, zero arm, playing for home runs. These guys always get in the league. And a good player for Arizona. Daryl Knowles was a bad 1975, so this we know. The other 3 years are good. Stay away from this year. He's got an ERA of 5.83. Steve Stone is pretty flat through the 4-year timeline. Here's the starter 7. Gets up the long ball a little bit. Really tough against righties. Walks the lefties. Not that bad. Reasonable. 3.95 ERA, 12-game winner. Pitches on 3 days rest. This might be the best of the 4 years. And now Jim Willoughby, who turns into a full-time reliever. Really good against righties. He used to be the other way. Something drastically changed. He was really good against lefties with the 72 card. And now it all flipped. This, a righty who gets lit up by lefties isn't going to work in our league. A lefty who gets lit up by righties might work in the league. So won't be this card. Even though it's got a 3.56 ERA. We'll probably pick Willoughby in 70, maybe 76. So with that, we can look at guys in their second year of eligibility in the rookie class. If you don't take one of these guys by the 4th round of the draft, they fall into the general population. So you do have protection if you want these guys. Billy Baldwin, nothing much there. Bill Sharp, good defensive corner, outfield, kind of slap hitter guy, good bat handler. Probably 265 hitter here. 250. This is an intriguing guy. Pete Varney, a zero-arm catcher with full-time power. Nice symmetry there. Nice home runs over there. It's around 268. 271 and 100 at-bats. But this is what expansion teams need. Guys who are just extra players but can give you a full-time kind of performance. Pat Darcy, starter 6, relief 3. Pretty ordinary, but that's, competing with a bunch of guys for that swing starter spot. Long man or number 4 starter. Stats are pretty good, actually. Now, they're going to be a little bit inflated because he pitches for those guys. So you're going to win a lot of games in 1975 if you pitch for the Reds. He won 11. Tom Johnson's had some nice years in relief for the Twins. Long relief, 4. Good against righties. Does walk the lefties plus the home runs. 4.15 ERA. I think he's got a better card like this, but it might be coming along a little bit later. And that's the look of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Next up, we have the Colorado Rockies. Colorado, it'll be Dick Drago, Dave Duncan, Joe Liss, and Ron Reed. According to this, Joe Liss's card is not here. The other 3 guys are kind of ordinary. Dick Drago, now he's a reliever. He used to be a starter pitching on 3 days rest. Now he's a 3.82 ERA in 73 innings. It's okay. Again, I don't like a righty gets lit up by lefties with walks and homers combined or extra base hits combined. This is really good, though. I just don't like all these extra walks here. But this is really good on that side. Dave Duncan's got a -2 arm. That'll get you in the league. With power both ways, even though the batting average is really low. It's a case of position. He's a catcher with a -2 arm. So if you're hitting 205, that still might be good enough, was with Baltimore. You'd put him in a platoon, minimizing the offensive damage he could do. Find a left-handed hitting catcher with some pop, and you might have something. And Ron Reed. Reed alternates good and bad years. The previous year and the next year will be good. This is the bad one. As a starter 7, he does pitch on 3 days rest with a 3.53 ERA. It's really a decent card, actually. It just goes to show you he's better in 74 as a starter and in 76 as a reliever. By that time, Ron Reed moved from Atlanta to St. Louis to Philadelphia. Now let's take a peek at their second-year rookies. Jerry Martin, nice little 3 in center, 0 arm, and he can hit lefties well. The extra base hits are good. That's a platoon player. That'd be fine. Get in the league somehow. Even though it's 212, it's an opportunistic split. That's why I got to look at these cards. You look at the just baseball reference, you'll dismiss this guy. You got 62% over here where he's terrible. But this is all we want. We want him to play some defense and hit lefties. Pat Scanlon's a left-handed hitting corner guy. Not much stick. Has walks. Champion of Summer. Yeah, just a guy. He's just a left-handed hitting stick with limited power and walks. 231. Nothing special. Billy Champion, starter 5 relief. Normally starter 5s are just going into the bullpen. We require usually a starter 6. Swing starter, decent against righties. Again, get lit up by lefties. Bill Osborne, well, repeat of the guy you just saw, relief 4. And Rick Rhoden had a nice career with the Dodgers and then the Pirates. Starter 6 here, yeah, he's fine. That's a decent card. 3.09 ERA, 99 innings. So this is probably the best of the lot of the second-year players. It's a decent pitcher. And, of course, it's the Colorado Rockies, so they're always looking for, decent pitching. They never have it, of course. Next up, it is going to be Las Vegas. Well, for Vegas, Ken Berry, Ed Brinkman, Woody Fryman, Jim Lonborg. By 75, Ken Berry and Ed Brinkman, their careers are over. So we're only going to see Woody Fryman and Jim Lonborg here. Woody's starting at a starter 6. He'll get lefties out against righties. It's reasonable. It's fine. Decent card. This could make the league, sure. Yeah, 3.32 ERA and 157 innings. That's fine. Actually, Fryman's got 3 decent cards like this. Stay away from 1973. It was a bad year for him. Jim Lonborg, he's sort of like Ron Reed. Alternates good and bad years. 74 and 76 were better, like Reed. Here's 75. 159 innings, a 4.13 ERA. Those are fine, but he's better previously and in the future. So now the young Vegas. You have Rob Andrews, good defense in the middle infield at 2 spots. And a base stealer, Abe Bunner, 15 runner. That's all great news to get you in the league. Hit above 200, you probably will get into the league, and he does. And he hits lefties fine. Yeah, this is a great card. Well, I mean, it's a good card. 238 hitter, but this is how you opportunistically get in the league. You start piling up the defense, the bunts, all that. Over here, he's fine. And you limit his against righties. You kind of limit him there. Buck Martinez, a +2 catcher, which is a shame because Buck's noted for a great throwing arm. Power versus lefties, he's probably a 240 hitter. But I don't really want him, 226. I really don't want him without a good throwing arm, so I'm going to pass on that. And that's all they got. Not again, Las Vegas, they're only going to have guys in the farm system that were left unprotected by your traditional major league teams. So that's why you're seeing very weak second-year rookies here. Concluding with Portland. And Portland, Dick Bosman, Ray Corbin, Clay Kirby, Roger Nelson. In that list, Roger Nelson's career is over, so it's just going to be 3 guys. Dick Bosman's got a bad 73. The other 3 years are decent. Here he's a starter 5, relief 4. But a good ERA. 151 innings, 11-6. That'd be a good long reliever. I don't like to starter 5s. Corbin's got a good 73 and 74, and by 75 he starts to lose it. So I don't like this card, 510. And Clay Kirby's got a better year, I believe, in 74 with the Reds. And he starts to lose it in 75. Of course, he's 10-6. Again, he's pitching for the Cincinnati Reds. This is normally a 6-10 pitcher with the 4.70 ERA. Of that lot, really, Bosman's probably the only workable one in a long relief. Their second-year rookies include Rich Blatt, center fielder, not much stick. B-bunter, B-hit, the BBB and a 15 is nice, but that's for center field, nah. Now, a nice Bobby Mitchell card. Left fielder, plenty of pop versus lefties, draws the walks with the power. Nice combination. This is a fine card. I'd deal with this. It's $249 opportunistically if you play him more over lefties. He's still reasonable against righties, but that's what you want in a platoon if you can get it. Very young John Denny, starter 6. Actually better against lefties than righties, which is nice. Still, I think he's a little high on the ERA. Well, 397, 136 innings. Not bad for an expansion team, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if you're a playoff team, you don't really want him, but if you're an expansion team, you like him. Pete Falcone was either a Met or a Cardinal at this point of his career. Giant, actually. Started with the Giants. 190 innings, 4.17 ERA for a lefty suggests he should be in the league. I kind of like it. If I get that out on 4.7, that'd be nice. Only 11 homers on 5. Yeah, this is reasonable as a starter 6, high innings pitched, and he's left-handed. If he was right-handed, I'd be like on the fence, but as a lefty, that's totally eligible for an expansion team like Portland. So, we'll pause, take a quick break, and then we'll get back to the exciting National League West. All right, it'll be the Houston Astros. Cesar Cedeno, Larry Dierker, Johnny Edwards, Doug Rader. Cedeno, I think he's probably earmarked for 1973. That's going to be a 320 season. But it's good to know that, he's got a lot of good years, of course, in the 1970s. This is another one. Not as good as 73, but it's nice to know he's still a great player. Even though this card is very good, it won't be selected, we don't think. Nor this one for Dierker. I think we prefer his 74. ERA of 4 on 3 days rest, but the lefties start to get to him a little bit on base, walks, and the homers. Johnny Edwards is retired by now, so he'll have to be taken in 73 or 4. Doug Rader is a nice player to have, very flat performance, consistent year in and year out, so it doesn't matter too much amongst the 4 years which one you pick. Obviously, you want the good defense. Now, he is a 1 in some of the other seasons. There you see he's a 2. And this batting average is down as well, so I don't particularly like this card. 223 with just 12 home runs. How about the young Astros? Now you'll start seeing some better talent than the talent in the Mountain Time Zone you saw. Jose Cruz, is he actually an Astro now? I think he's still a Card. No, he is. 257 average. At this point, he's more of a platoon outfielder, which is fine. That's good enough as a platoon outfielder to get in the league. Doesn't only a C-stealer, good base runner. Cabell started in Baltimore's farm system, went to Houston, found success, went to Detroit, found success. Corner, defense, look at the outfield as well. So he's a rare 2 at first, 3 at third, and a 3 in the outfield. You don't see that very often. Can steal bases for you, doesn't have the power. Has a nice batting average, about 272 or something. 264. How about this Cliff Johnson, one of the first. Cliff Johnson's going to have about a decade of really always crushes lefties, and sometimes he crushes righties too. He does here. Wow, that's great. This is a great card for Cliff. 276, 20 homers, and 340 at-bats. Did it with the Astros. Yeah, get this card into the league if you can, Houston. See, I mean, this guy could have been taken in the league a year ago, but they probably had better guys. Skip Jutsi, another catcher, and not nearly as good as Cliff Johnson. You got Tony Scott as a good defensive outfielder. Of course, isn't ready yet. He's still young and hitting to 182. And we have Doug Knicksey. Not very good either. No, that's not going to happen. A lot of guys here. J.R. Richards is starter 6. Still needs a little bit more time. His ERA is 4. He pitches on 3 days rest, so. But still, in our league, we can leave guys with bad ERAs in the farm system. But I tell you what, if you don't take J.R. Richards by the 4th round of the draft, he becomes a free agent. So you just might have to take him. Maybe you can get him in 76. Or the other option is get him in 73, have one lousy year with him, and then improve him to a 77 card. But yeah, you're not going to get much production on J.R. Richard, but you better land the player. You don't want to lose the rights to him. That's what teams have to do sometimes. You get a star player on your team in the future, on him in the league now when he's not that good. Next up, the Dodgers. Dodgers, oh boy, it's going to be Jim Brewer, Mike Marshall, Bill Russell, Don Sutton. Brewer finally looks mortal after a brilliant career. This is the first ordinary Jim Brewer card. And it's got a 180 earned run average in a misleading statistical 2-to-1 strikeout walk is fine. 38 hits. Doesn't play that well, though. Puts a lot of guys on base otherwise. I mean, if he was just another bullpen arm, he'd be fine, but we expect more out of Jim Brewer cards. Mike Marshall, after the terrific 1974, which they're going to use, yeah, he has just an ordinary 75. Really bad year for Bill Russell. I don't know what happens to the batting average. You don't want him as a 206 hitter. And then Don Sutton. Starter 7. All the years for Sutton are going to be great in this era. 73 will probably be the best, though this one is a 287 ERA. So all the Sutton cards you'll see in this forecast are going to be great, with 73 being the best year. How about the young Dodgers? There certainly has to be something here. You have Henry Cruz, a good pinch hitter. Could be a DH, play some outfield, but no power. If you had power, I would say okay, but it's not there. So no, not to this year for Henry Cruz. Sean Hale had a good defensive card in one of these years. Has some power, but again, just not enough. And that's it. Only 2 Dodgers in the young class. They're going to have to go make some trades to get that late 70s. They're going to have to trade for Dusty Baker. They're going to have to trade for Reggie Smith. Trade for Rick Monday. I mean, they're just not here for the Dodgers. They internally, of course, it was Garvey, Lopes, Say, and Russell, but in the outfield it was all imports. Next, your Padres. Nate Colbert, Cito Gaston, Pete Reichert, Vincente Romo. Only 2 of those guys remain, Colbert and Gaston. And actually, Colbert doesn't exist either. Nope, his card's not here. It would have been a bad one anyway. So only Gaston remains in 75. And he can be a platoon outfielder against lefties with good outfield defense at 241, but that's about it. So they got to really cross their fingers and hope there's some young guns in the Padre farm system. They might have to add 2 of these guys. Mike Ivey would be a nice one. Here he's more of a utility player. instead of an everyday first baseman, what he becomes. Crushes lefties. Decent against righties. Yeah, I take this card as a utility player and as a platoon player, even though he gets 249. Hector Torres is a middle infielder, but it's just against righties. Again, as a platoon player. Can't have too many platoon players, though, folks. You have 12 hitters. That means 6 of the 12 hitters in your team need to play every day. And then you have 3 platoons to get the desired number of players to play in your game. Your starters and then 3 guys on the bench. Limited roster use, so you can't assemble a team of platoon players. Joe McIntosh is a decent starter. Again, a righty who gets hit by lefties I'm not crazy about. Dan Spillner, he's getting knocked around. Same scenario. By lefties, not crazy about that either. All right, here's a nice pitcher. Dave Tomlin, a lefty reliever. Fine, yeah. I want my lefties to get lefties out. He kind of does that. It's not glamorous. It's a opportunistic 325. Don't think I'll get it. Looks more like a 354, but yeah. I mean, yeah, he'll probably get in with this card. Again, it's the Padres. I'd probably go Ivy and Tomlin here. Ivy and Dave Tomlin. And lastly, we'll look at the Giants. The Giants. Jim Barr, Ron Bryant, Juan Marichal, Chris Spire. Ron Bryant and Juan Marichal are gone by now. We still have Jim Barr. And that's a nice card for Jim. On 3 days rest, 3.06 ERA. Starter rate, a little bit better against righties and lefties. Nice card. Totally draftable for Jim Barr. He's another guy. He's got 4 good seasons here from 73 to 76. Chris Spire, this is probably the best year since his rookie year of 72. He's a 2 shortstop. Plenty of power versus righties, plenty of walks, so his batting average is not going to be there. It's a 271. It's a misleading 271 on a few reasons. Reason 1 is the template. So I call this the 9 template, meaning it's the 9th best batting average on the 75 Giants. So when I look at this template first, I think, oh, it's got to be a low batting average. But the reason why the batting average is good is because he's got these walks here, on 8, 9, and 10, and over there, and hits all the way through the 7 to 10. So I'm already sold on this card because he's a 2 shortstop. So yeah, this will be the Spire that they select. Now, if you anticipate, there should be some youngsters in the Giant system still. And there is. And it's this guy. And this is a star. And he didn't have a long career, but in 75, he puts it all together, making everybody forget about losing Gary Maddox and eventually losing Gary Matthews. We got Von Joshua coming up in San Francisco as your everyday center fielder with defense and an arm and speed and power, and lefties don't bother him whatsoever. This is the best card we've seen tonight, folks. How do you like that? How do you like this for a guy who wasn't drafted a year ago? Think about that. So it's mandatory. They have to take this guy before the first 4 rounds, or he'll be the first player taken out of the general population. I mean, that's just an all-star center fielder right there. I know the name recognition's not there, but yeah, instant starter in center field, replacing Ken Henderson, who they traded to the White Sox several years ago. So I think this year is locked up between Chris Spire, Von Joshua, and they're going to have to take Jim Barr in a different year. Johnny LeMaster, shortstop, just in the platoon. Plenty of power, interestingly. You don't see that typically from LeMaster in his career. but won't make it, and he'll fall in the general population like the other guys. So will this guy, Bruce Miller. And Mike Sadik, a catcher always known to draw a lot of walks. And Gary Thomason. And frankly, the Giants don't really mind losing him. This guy showed lots of promise, seldom delivered the results, and was with the Dodgers and the Giants. Really did not distinguish himself in his career. Often a platoon player, frustrating those franchises. Ed Haliki's a starter 7, and they don't have a spot to put him in. They don't have a spot in the rotation. They don't have a spot in this season. And they're going to lose this guy with a 3.49 ERA and 160 innings. Haliki has I believe he leads the National League in WHIP in 78 or 77 or 78. But looks like the Giants might lose him. But this is what happens. It's when draft time comes and you're on the clock and you don't find something you like and you need a player from 75, you go, well, wait a minute, didn't San Francisco have a bunch of great guys? And that's what happens. They'll just go to the San Francisco's area and target somebody just because your franchise doesn't have anybody talented in the year of 75. Interesting. The Big Red Machine dominated the National League West, but the Giants clearly had some talent in that season. And that concludes the box of 1975. There is a list of waivered players. We can take a look at this now. This is, again, players put on waivers after 72 because they have a card in 73. But, frankly, 3 years in, they probably aren't particularly good. We have Fred Stanley as utility infielder. Tom Hutton, he'll eventually be a 1 in 76. Again, Ted Martinez, utility infielder. Cecil Upshaw, get knocked around. Decent against righties. Stan Bonson, not a particularly good card there. Bobby Tolan, he's okay at best. Terry Crowley, there's a good possible DH. Joe Coleman is getting knocked around here. The 5.55 ERA. Kirkpatrick can't play catcher anymore. He still has stick versus righties. Rosella, a righty who normally gets lefties out, but now he's giving up homers. Harmon Killebrew still sticking around. Could be a platoon DH. Dyer's got a -1 arm, catcher versus lefties. That's actually one of the more effective cards because he's a catcher, -1 arm, in a platoon. Mike Keegan, after hitting 329 for Oakland, he'll never do that again. Okay at best. Ken McMullen, corner third base type with walks and homers. Decent card, actually. I don't know what happened to his defense. He was known for his defense primarily, not his offense. Now he's sort of a slugger, kind of. How about Bob Moose going on waivers from the Pirates? But he really starts to lose it. Even though he's now in the bullpen with 68 innings, no longer starting. But pretty good. He's pretty good. Someone will pick him up probably. Mangual, no defense and not much stick. Bobby Heist's been a useful utility player here just against lefties. Wayne Granger, a righty who gets righties out, but the lefties are knocking him around. This is the trend we've seen throughout the evening. I ignore the righties who get knocked around by lefties. Brohammer was a 2 at second. Now he's a 4, negating any offense he might produce. The sad case of Rorik Harrison. Brilliant in Baltimore. Then when they trade him to Atlanta in the launching pad, he gets knocked around. What a shame, because he was brilliant in Baltimore in 72. And you see, this is why when you go on waivers in year 1, by year 3, probably don't have much gas in the tank. Of this lot, maybe 2 or 3 guys could make it. And now, we can officially close this box for now. And we'll move next week into the rookie class, the exciting rookie class of 1976, and see some new guys. We'll be looking at the American League East, American League North, which I believe gives us A look at the Detroit Tigers, 1976, which means the Bird, Mark Fidrich. We'll see him next week, folks. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.